Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Oberstein, president of Life Chiropractic College West, and I've got two of the most incredible human beings that I've seen in a very long time with me today. I've got Amy Purdy. I don't even know who to go first. I got Amy Purdy. Amy is an amazing woman. She'll tell you you'll learn a little bit about her as we move on. And I have Dr. Liz Anderson-Peacock from Ontario, California. No,
when did we get absorbed?
I know. Liz Anderson-Peacock from Ontario, Canada. And these two women have an incredible story, and they're truly just amazing people and inspirational, and about possibility, and about not just what can be, but what is. And both of them are amputees. Liz has one leg that was amputated, Amy both, and they've just done amazing things. Amy, you're just truly incredible. She just got off the stage at our program called The Wave and inspired the whole audience. And I'm just going to ask you guys some questions. If you want to answer the same question, you can do that. If you want a different answer, just shoot. But Amy, obviously you talked about taking possibility and making that happen, right? And people, they understood it from the stage, but how did you even get to the place to be able to say, I want to see what's right in the world, not what's wrong, or what's possible, not what's not possible?
I think for me, first of all, it just came down to being passionate. I was so passionate about snowboarding that I was going to find a way. I was going to find a way to figure it out. And that forced me to get creative and to get to the point where I'm at today, where I've won medals and been able to help other people as well. But really, for me, it all came down to being passionate and kind of taking action, like just that first step, and then everything else figured itself out. A lot of times people think that you need inspiration before you do something. I think you just have to take action. Sometimes then the inspiration comes, then you're in it, then you're excited, then you figure it out. So for me, that's what's worked.
Yeah. And it sounds like what I'm hearing is that we can get so stuck in our head that we'll never get anywhere because we're thinking too much. And just
start.
Yes.
Fail. You might fail. That's fine. But you at least got the ball rolling. You at least got out there. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I know it's been 19 years, right? 19 years to this month that you lost both your legs, right? And yet, Liz, it's been how long?
8 months.
8 months.
8 months.
So quite different. And yet you spoke on the stage yesterday and talked about the possibility. And when we spoke on the phone, you said to me that losing your leg was one of the greatest blessings in your life. That's what you said to me on the phone when we talked.
Yeah, limb loss, life gained. Yeah. And again, it's that whole piece it's about perception. And one of the things I spoke about on the stage yesterday is when you take a glass of water that's half full, is it half full, is it half empty? And what we forget is the glass is actually 100% full. And it's the things that we don't see that actually, once we open up and create space in our lives and tune into it, it starts to show up. So as Amy said, when you fall down, because inevitably all of us fall down, whether we have one leg, two legs, no legs, we fall down. And the falling down isn't the part that's the hard part. The hard part is to decide how you want to get back up. So I'm in a very different place from Amy. Number one, I'm older, a lot older. Number two is, I volitionally had my leg amputated. I didn't wake up with it being an emergency for my life. And so when I came into my place with this is I was making an intention, I made an intention so consciously that I knew what I wanted to experience. And I'm a big meditator, and I had a number of signposts on my journey that pointed to the other side of regaining life in so many incredible ways. And that's really what I wanted to do. So when I went in to my amputation, I decided the music that the surgeons were going to play, I knew what I wanted to do after that. Then I really had to give it up to the universe. Surrender, which is not giving up, it's allowing for, and it's for releasing. And I just knew that things were going to show up. And as Amy said, you take that first step, and you don't have to see the whole journey from the get-go. You see the next step, and then once you're there, you take another step. And then another step will reveal itself. And I think those are really the key points. attitude is absolutely huge. And, I talked about that. And I talked about I wanted to go through this with the joy of life and love and grace and I wanted gratitude because there were so many things in my life that were going for me anyways. And that's exactly what I experienced, even to, as I said, my first two nurses, second and third nurse, when I was in the rehab hospital, their names were Joy and Grace.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Amy, you talked today about not only just taking that next step, but really seeing beyond and how you could give back, right? And that had to come from a place deep inside of your heart, obviously, from all the experiences that you went through. Like when you said on stage, please, you were speaking to the universe, you were speaking to God, you were speaking to whoever was out there, about your kidney, not losing your kidney, and yet you found that vehicle to give back. Can you share about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just I found that that's when I'm most fulfilled is actually when I'm giving back. It's one thing to receive, it's another thing to give back, and it feels for me it's almost selfish. I always say giving back is actually quite selfish because it makes the person who's giving feel so good, and so yeah, just to be able to experience the things I've experienced and then share the things that I've learned. I mean, that's just a huge part of my life. You live and you give. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's just been my journey.
And you started a foundation, or you started a nonprofit.
I
correct?
did, yeah. So I started a nonprofit organization called Adaptive Action Sports that gets people who have physical disabilities involved in action sports like snowboarding, skateboarding, wakeboarding, all types of different action sports. And we work with people who just want to learn it in the first place. And we just share our love for sport with each other. And not just sport, it's like action sports are more of a lifestyle. So we kind of get to share that lifestyle with other people. And then also we have kind of a developing snowboard team. Not kind of, we do. We have a developing snowboard team, an elite snowboard team of athletes who are training to make the Paralympic Games. And actually, we were able to bring home, we sent over 6 out of the 13 U.S. team athletes to Korea to compete this year. 2 of them were wounded veterans, and we brought home 7 medals altogether for our country and for Team USA this year. So, yeah, for us, it's just always, been very fulfilling to give back, but just also, I mean, that's kind of what it's all about, is just living your life and giving back where you can and sharing those experiences along the way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I know it's not all rosy. I mean, there's other things that happen. Liz, when you were going, and obviously, you just went through your recovery, right? Just recently, it was 8 months ago. What were some of the things that made your recovery special, or maybe you had said that you rehabbed so quickly they couldn't believe how quickly you had done
Exactly.
that. Tell us some of the things that happened with that.
Well, first of all, it was again the intention in creating the space so that I could be present with what is, so that I could move my energy to whatever direction I needed to, and because I'm going to say it. B.J. Palmer said, people cannot anchor to an unanchored mind.
Right.
And my mind was so anchored in the direction of holding the space for healing. And from the moment I had my amputation, I started remeditating again. I got off my meds as quickly as possible. I was really engaged and had a lot of fun with my therapist. And, a lot of the times I think these therapists get overwhelmed because they're working with people that are negative, or they're upset, or they're angry, or they're frustrated, and all the things that I can imagine that people would be. I chose not to be like that. And I just chose to push the limits to what my body was telling me I was able to do. So I did that. I did, of course, gating at the spinal cord level, which really changed, again, the perception of the pain to the brain. I did mirror therapy. I did chiropractic. I did, meaning specifically adjusting. Yeah. I ate real food. All my friends, it was awesome in the hospital because my friends brought me real food. I did not eat any hospital food. I think I had one piece of something. I don't even know what it quite was supposed to be. Anyways, that's another story. But it's you fuel your body, you fuel your mind, you set a conscious intention. You basically, it was running a program of where did I want to be. And I had to let go on how I got there, because how I got there really just showed up in a very unique way. There was other things. So when I first had my prosthetic, I've been walking for 57 years, so I know how to walk. Being a chiropractor, I know how to do heel stance toe, heel stance mid, or heel strike mid stance toe off. So it was a matter of, I just stepped in my prosthetic, because like done this before, started walking, and my prosthetist is like, no, 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 we don't want you weight bearing. I'm like, well, why not? Like, that's the idea. He goes, no, no, we have to be careful. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just tune in if I need to be careful. And then it was like learning how to go up and down stairs. You'll remember that, right? It's kind of scary, but at the same time is, well, if I don't want to be limited by stairs, I might as well do the stairs, and I'm going to do it with people that have done this with hundreds of people before me, and listen to facing your fears and listening to the advice of the experts in that field too.
You know, and we're talking about the possibilities, but I know that there's, if we could just share with the people who will be watching this, you know, to really know, Amy, what are some of the things that you don't necessarily share on stage that might be, you know, some of the more difficult things that you go through every day? And I don't want to say difficult from a matter of a mental standpoint, but you know, there's got to be something. It's like not all rosy every single second. Is there something you can share and how you deal with that so that people can understand that?
I mean, I think, you know, I try to share that on stage. To be honest, it's definitely not always rosy. I mean, my life has been a series of challenges and obstacles, but then using those to get ahead. So I've always been able to learn through every challenge I've gone through. But certainly, I mean, everything I shared on stage, you know, you think that something big happens in your life, and then maybe that's it. Like, my story was losing my legs and my kidneys, and then I got through that. But your story doesn't end there. You know, as long as we're alive, there's still going to be more challenges and more obstacles. And I shared on stage that I injured both my arms severely last year. Here, all I had was my arms. I mean, I've got my legs, but my arms were the strongest of my body. And then all of a sudden, I was faced with losing the use of my arms after getting rhabdomyolysis and then this nerve injury in my arms. And so the challenges are always going, I think just knowing, just accepting that we're always going to face challenge, you know. It's not about living your life without challenge. It's about being able to handle it when the challenges come. And so for me, just kind of having, you know, expect that things are going to be challenging, expect that things are going to come our way, and when they do, that you're prepared and you've been through it before. For me, I went through it before, so I knew that I could get through it again. But it didn't take away from how hard it is when your life suddenly changes. So, yeah, I mean, I think at this point I have at least some experience to look back on and say, well, I've done it before, I can do it again, I figured it out. One of the worst things that I thought could happen in my life ended up being one of the biggest blessings. And so just to know that gives me faith with whatever it is I'm going through.
And Amy, one thing we're doing is we've got a mission at the college for diversity and inclusiveness and inclusion. Yeah, we're doing a really major thing. And yesterday we talked a lot about that from the stage. And was there anything that came up as far as just what you went through, the path that you're going, and being a woman? Was there anything that any obstacles that were thrown in your way, or perceived or unconscious bias that you saw that you were able to move through? Was there anything that happened like that?
I mean, I will definitely say at first it was very hard having prosthetic legs and being a woman because, first of all, my legs were clunky. They didn't look the way that I expected them to. I couldn't wear the clothes that I wanted to wear. I actually had to buy pants that were like 5 times too big and with a drawstring to be able to just get the pants over my legs. And I thought, there's no way the rest of my life is going to be like this. How am I going to deal with this? But luckily, through patience and time, my legs have been able to kind of be remade over and over, and now they're to the point where they're at where I'm very, very comfortable with them, and in a way they're almost like an accessory, right? They're like an accessory to my outfit that I have to constantly dress around, but I've at least figured out to where I like them at this point. But they're also just an extension of me at this point. But yeah, I mean, just like anything, it just takes time. It takes time. We want to get back to our normal life as quickly as possible, but our normal life doesn't really exist anymore. We have to find a new normal. And so just over time, I've been able to figure that out to the point of where I'm at today. And I'm very comfortable with my legs, and I'm very comfortable with the way that I guess I've figured out my kind of fashion around it. And yeah, and just this is now who I am, and I embrace it, and don't really question it at this point. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I got one last question for both of you, and we have people who will be watching us right now who are going through challenges. Mm-hmm. I mean, they could be physical challenges, they could be mental challenges, they could be social challenges, they could be loss of loved ones, it could be a lot of different things. And obviously, I don't want to necessarily say it was a challenge. Obviously, it was a challenge because you guys took it as a challenge to to move to the next place and be at a different place. And, what would you share with somebody that you feel would be great advice that could help somebody no matter where they are, but if they're facing a challenge, because obviously both of you went through something like that.
For me, I think, and I'm going to go a little bit academic-y on here because of, I love neuroscience, is figuring out how to down-regulate the scary noises in your brain, the fear, the frustration, turn frustration to fascination, to modulate how you're managing your stress, because stress narrows our ability to adapt in the moment. So there can be possibilities there, but we don't see them because we're vibrating on a certain level. If we can turn off that beta brain, that active mind, the mind that's just chattering on what we can't do and, oh, how my life has changed and, oh, poor me, and all those kinds of voices that happen, or I'm the only one that's ever gone through this, nobody knows. And there's elements of truth to that because nobody knows how everyone else is going to experience anything. But when you can down-regulate that and upregulate the creativity part of the brain, so quieting the noise through visualization, through music, through meditation works wonders for me. Then we get into our prefrontal cortex, which is where we start to dump oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. So oxytocin is the bonding hormone. So we want to connect with people. And when you see people that are going through horrible scenarios, they usually disconnect. They don't connect. You want to be with people that are upregulating and exciting for you as well, that don't talk about what's wrong with you and the past, but go into the present future. And then we also end up, so that's oxytocin. And then we've got certainly serotonin and dopamine, so the anticipation of a positive reward and the feeling of wellness from the inside out. But that allows this front part of the brain to regulate creativity and responsibility and flexibility and resourcefulness. So as Amy said, you had to make products that were non-existent to solve problems that you wanted to create for expanding your life. And that comes from creativity. You rarely get to creativity when you're experiencing stress. So I would say people, my best thing for me was to really down-regulate the stress and up-regulate the dream and up-regulate all the other emotions that were going to be more positive. Love, gratitude, peace, joy, grace, faith, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, and you can't get there unless you down-regulate, get out of that fight or flight, that sympathetic contraction to get to expansion.
Yeah, and a lot of people are terrified when there's a loss of a family member or a limb loss or a devastating accident or a job loss. People go into fight and flight, but we got to move ourselves out of there because that's not where we're going to solve the problem. And Albert Einstein said that cannot solve a problem from the same level to which it was perceived.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Amy, same question. So what you could share about anything with someone who might be going through some challenges and how they can move through it.
So I always say that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And that's been very true in my life. And to be honest, I really just think that if you're passionate and if you work hard enough, that the possibilities are endless. I never say that anything's possible because we all know not everything's possible. I mean, somebody who's in a wheelchair can't just will themselves to get up and walk. Not everything's possible. My legs are not going to grow back. That's not possible. But I say that the possibilities are endless. But what that comes from is hard work and passion. And just the will to persevere, just not giving up, making the choice to see it through to the end no matter what comes your way. And for me, that's been my kind of key to success.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm just utterly amazed at these two women who are absolutely phenomenal human beings and inspirational. I had a pleasure of spending part of the weekend with each of them. And Dr. Liz Anderson-Peacock, I know you're going to be doing amazing things. When you told me on the phone that this has been a blessing, I just see, when I saw Amy today, what I saw was your future. I literally saw you you're on the stage anyways. No, not snowboarding, if you want to, but I don't know. But what I really saw was you on the stage and sharing endless possibility with, with chiropractors and lay people worldwide about that and the healing process around that, because obviously that's your thing, is healing. So, it was really just a blessing to have you with us this weekend. And Amy, obviously you've done so much you know, with you gained so much just by losing two pieces, you know, two limbs of your body, but you gained so much. A three medalist, Olympian, two-time Olympian with 3 medals, right? Toured with Oprah, you know, all over the world right now, lecturing, Dancing with the Stars, all the different things, and your foundation, nonprofit, how you're changing lives is truly incredible. Because you did say it. You said it's what we give, it's not what we get, and the more we give, the more we do actually get. You know, and it's just absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. In the book, your New York Times bestseller, we sold out in like 5 minutes, I think. You know, it was just incredible. So please go on Amazon. Is it on Amazon?
You can do Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any bookstore.
Yep, just look up Amy. You can talk about the book.
Yeah, it's called On My Own 2 Feet, From Losing My Legs to Learning the Dance of Life. And it should be available out there. So, and actually, if you go to our organization, Adaptive Action Sports, www.adacs.org, you can actually buy the book, and then the money goes to the organization.
That's awesome. So, once again, I'm Dr. Ron, overseeing Life Chiropractic at College West. These two women have been such an inspiration to so many people, and I know they'll continue to be an inspiration to so many people, and they truly live what we call lasting purpose, to give, to do, to love, and to serve out of their own abundance. And I'm just really honored to be able to stand here with both of you, and I'm really, really humbled. So thank you so much for all that you've done, all that you're doing, and all that you will continue to do to make this world a better place to live. So thank you both very much.
Thank you.